Hey everyone, this is Dr. Rashmi Shram, and I am back with another exciting episode of chatting with a fellow physician. And today I am incredibly excited to chat with Dr. Nikita Shah. She is actually double board certified in family medicine and obesity medicine and does a phenomenal job with her patients and actually has a new practice that she's opened up. And we're going to learn all about that. And we're going to learn some tips and tricks to get you to a better health and a better place. So I want to introduce you to Dr. Shah. How are you today?
Hi, thank you so much, Dr. Sham, for having me here today. I'm so excited to speak with you and to discuss with all of you watching today just healthy tips and habit stacking to reach your goals. I think often we all know what we need to do to move the needle forward, but it's like a daunting task. We get so nervous about taking care of all the areas of our life to move the needle forward, and then we just get paralyzed. But it's actually quite simple. There's areas of sleep, nutrition, physical activity that we can make improvements on. Also, stress reduction and mindfulness. I think we often don't consider it, but the vitamin C of connection is super important in like maintaining relationships with our day to day. And then my special piece in the world is connecting with your doctor and making sure your preventive services and your medical conditions are actually well maintained and cared for. So I think when we look at all the things that make up a healthy way of living and a healthy life, if someone really wants to just feel better and have more energy and has certain goals, it's very daunting. But if you just take one area and focus on it and make one change, studies show that you start making changes in all other sorts of areas. It's kind of like this momentum when you start stacking these habits.
Yeah. So really what you're saying is start really small. Don't get overwhelmed. So let's say you're somebody that's looking to improve X, Y, and Z with your health, whether it's your weight or your mental health or really anything, whether it's the connection that you were talking about. Don't try to do it all at once. Just start really small, pick the one thing, and then just stick with the one thing.
Exactly. So you
Yeah.
mentioned weight, and that's one of my areas of specialty. So I often have people come in and there's like, Dr. Shah, I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know how to eat. I'm like, well, you do know how to eat, but let's just like clean it up. Like, we don't have to go like wild with it. Just pick an area. So if you notice that you're snacking overnight and like just sitting there munching on popcorn because it's been a very stressful day, well, maybe at the end of the day and after your dinner time, maybe you decide to go take a walk instead. And that in itself will give you a stress relief that will substitute that after dinner snacking that you're doing. If it's not that at all, like I think for a long time I had a big coffee addiction. And at all times of the day, I just find myself going to the local coffee shop. And it was never just coffee, right? And it wasn't even about the coffee. I don't need any more energy or caffeine. It was about the sweet tooth that I had or the stressful day that I was experiencing or feeling. And when you really just bring your attention to it, that there is stress going on, and that's why you're moving in that direction, you can save your money, not go for it, and maybe just really identify something else to do in the process. So for me, that was just, let's just go take a walk. So, 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon when the day gets hectic, I just like pause, just take a couple minutes to breathe and maybe just take a quick walk. It was never about the pastry or the cookie or the sweet coffee beverage. It was just I needed a break, and food allowed that for me. But then that one habit progressed to other habits, and it just became better and better and better. So you can just start somewhere and pick one thing.
Yeah, and it also sounds like self-awareness is a huge part of that, right? Because what I see as well is, and I've done this too. It's not like I see it, I do it too when I catch myself. But we're eating our emotions, we're drinking our emotions. It's like, hey, you know what? Maybe those emotions aren't actually that bad. Let's just sit here and feel them. It just takes a minute. It just takes a breath. Go ahead and acknowledge it. And so that's really part of that whole health kind of model that you're talking about. That's what I follow as well, which is that mind, body, spirit, which of course is connected to your community, to your relationships, your emotions, and all of that stuff. So yeah, and that's brilliant. So when you notice that you were like going to the coffee shop and getting the pastry, not because you wanted the coffee or the pastry, but you were actually running from some of the overwhelm that you were feeling. And then when you just sat there with the overwhelm, you're like, oh, this isn't bad. Maybe I'll go for a walk and to dissipate that. And so that's really brilliant. That's a really good tip
Yeah.
for people.
And usually when you're just aware of it, or that awareness of your actions, you can start taking strides and changes that are perfect for you. Because what's perfect for me is not perfect for anybody else. So like someone else might be listening and say, no, Dr. Shah, I really do need that coffee in the afternoon. Well, then maybe it's not a problem for you, but maybe there's another area, like maybe sleep. That's another big one I think we see in clinic is, um, I think the average American is just losing time for rest. And if we don't reboot, if we don't have that downtime, we're constantly just running on empty. And I think often people tell me, no, I feel fine. I'm like, but do you really? Because how do you know? Like, what if you actually got the 7 to 8 hours consistently? Like, what if you did that? Then how would you feel? And then would you really believe that you were doing well before, or are you just feeling so excellent now? So I'll challenge people sometimes, like just try to get more sleep. Like turn off the Netflix. It's okay. That show will be there, always be there. So, and make those changes. I've seen some really great things. People's blood pressure tends to improve when they start getting more sleep. The stress level in the day, just your resolve to handle things that are thrown at you, just gets so much better. So I think these things aren't just do it because I say I do it. Like I really think it provides a lot of benefit to the person who's starting to take these actions. And they
Yeah,
can
for
just
sure. Let them actually, yeah, let them experience it. And that, I love that aspect of it. It's like, you know what, try it. What do you have to lose?
yeah,
Here's all the evidence for it, and here's all the reasons why. But don't just listen to me or to, these studies. Why don't you just try it?
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, brilliant. Sleep your way to better health.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, yeah. And that's right in line too. One of my mentors, sometimes he says, for fast acting relief, try slowing down. And so, oh yeah,
Love
that's
that.
true.
Yes.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, yeah. So brilliant. So we've talked about sleep. We've talked about making little, changes, whether it's with like cutting out, the afternoon pastries, and taking a walk instead, or even the late night snacking. What else? I'd love to hear an example of maybe yours or like from a patient where something little ended up turning into something big, kind of like we're talking about now, which is, you know what, just start small and see where you end up.
Yeah, so really, I think a lot of health changes for myself started at the beginning of the pandemic in March of 2020. In Florida, we just had a shutdown like other parts of the world and country. Um, and I was like, what do I do? Can't really do much. So a buddy at work, and Emmanuel, if you're watching, shout out to you. He's a crazy runner. He just keeps running marathons, and there's something wrong with him. At least I thought. So we had this celebration for our company's anniversary, and it was to run 44.7 miles. And I said, okay, I'll start there. So I'm pretty sure we started off with just one block. And then the next week we met, and I think we went a little longer. And then just through that connection of running and jogging with coworkers during a stressful time, it just became predictable. It was like our therapy, like Wednesday morning, we're going to start running. And I don't think I even started running. I think I just started with a walk. I'm not even sure. But before we knew it, like we did the 4 miles. Like, what? I haven't ran 4 miles since college. And then somehow I think he must have tricked me, but it turned into 5 miles. And then before I knew it, him and another doctor I work with signed me up for a half marathon that was in October. And I was like, you're crazy. I'm not doing that. My poor knees are not going to make it across that finish line. And sure enough, we got there. Like he got me there. It was that consistent progression. We just kept working at it, and it just put like proof and evidence in there for me that I could do this. So then I didn't doubt it. I just thought, okay, well, it's happening. Like I'm going. I already signed up. I'm not going to show up at this thing. And then we crossed the finish line, and it was fantastic. So I really do believe like small changes, consistency, connection with people that'll help promote you along the way and support you, can make you do things that you never thought were imaginable.
Yeah, that's a great example. I love that. And congratulations, by the way.
Yeah.
That is a long way to run. And I tend to use my knees as an excuse sometimes as well.
Yeah.
So I can't do that anymore. But yeah, you started off running a block, and then within less than, sounds like a year or a year and a half, you were running a half marathon and you were
Exactly.
enjoying yourself. And it turned out it was really those little, small steps that you started to take, that, now you're a half marathon runner. That's amazing. Congratulations.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it was great.
Yeah, and that's really inspiring too for your patients.
Mhm.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. So this has been phenomenal. I love all of the information that you've given us, and just the way that you approach your patients, the way that you help them. I think it's incredible. How can people find you if they're looking to learn more, to connect with you?
So I am opening up a new practice in Lake Nona, or Orlando, Florida. It's called Weight Sense. It's an obesity medicine practice designed to have all the tools that are evidence-based to help people solve their weight problem. Um, it's a no judgment, it's a judgment-free zone. I'm there in a micro clinic to work directly with you, to help people address some of the biggest struggles that they face regarding their weight. Um, it's called Weight Sense because I want your or the person's weight to make sense to them. I want it to be intuitive, not this mysterious bubble that is just like impenetrable, like where you can't understand it. I want it to mean something. I want to demystify it. I want people to understand like what is it in their biology that might be contributing to the weight? What is it within the environment that might be contributing to the weight? I want to create a clinic that you leave after working with me where it just makes sense and you understand it. Because once you understand something, you can really work on making progress long after time with me is spent, even. So,
Yeah, that's brilliant. Yeah, and you're
yeah.
absolutely right. Knowledge is power. And so helping them make sense of what's happening and how they can make the changes that they need that are sustainable, that's huge.
And so I'll offer medications, meal replacement therapy, if that's an option, nutritional counseling, and just overall, like anything that a person may need support wise from a physician to go along with their journey. You can find me at weight-sense.com. So WEIGHT sense.com. I'm opening August 24th this year. So just a few short weeks away. And then I'm also new on Instagram, but I am there, and it's a Weight Sense, WEIGHTSENSE.
Brilliant. Yeah, absolutely. And I'll put these in the little notes as well. So this is fantastic. Thank you so much for spending this time with us and for really giving us some pretty phenomenal tips on how we can start to move the needle in a big way by doing little things. I really appreciate your time. Thank you
Thank
so much,
you.
Nikita.
Thank you so much.